All right, welcome to the Nathaneal podcast. Today we have a good friend of mine, Chris Chan, in the podcast. We've been setting this up for for a long time now. So I'm really happy that we finally got to sit down here and talk. So Chris Chan is a funnel agency owner who works with 7 to 8 figure brands to scale their businesses. I know that you had a case study before where you basically did 100K in 90 days. So that was like I think that's when I first met you because I was like, yo, you can get more stuff here if you put it on the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate that because I know these little tidbits about X. I'm usually in my little funnel zone doing my thing, so it's
Yeah,
really nice, like having you come in and give me some pointers.
all good, man. But yeah, welcome to the podcast. So I'm quite curious. The reason why I want to talk is, like I only started doing this whole thing like 10 months ago or something, more or less. And I invite people in to learn more about, your journey, how you got into the space, what you learned, your crucial lessons. So let's start with that. How did you get into the whole digital marketing? Was it always your plan to go here? Like, how'd that go?
Yeah, that's a great question. So back in like 2018, I was in college, like anyone, just surfing the web in my dorm, trying to find passive income affiliate marketing hacks. I was like, this whole make money online thing seems really, really cool. Hanging out in my dorm room, typing away. I decided to start a blog, right? Start like a niche blog, and literally all the money that I had in my savings into like this blog, which is like a grand total of like $250 or something stupid like that, into this thing. I think it's called like Wealthy Affiliate. But anyway, so I started blogging. I don't ever really end up making any money from that blog, like at all, after on and off starting and stopping it between 2018 and I want to say 2020 before I just went ahead and shut it down. But what I did do was go on Upwork and find a couple of random gigs. Like the funniest stuff, I was translating Arabic songs into English and then rewriting them so that they made sense grammatically in English for like $5 for like 10 or 20 different song lyrics or something crazy like that. That's how I started. Then in 2020, I really started to take things seriously. I joined a community, during COVID, online community, and started writing blog posts, and then started working for the community owner's agency. And then I started working for several other agencies as a freelance writer. Then come to 2021, I landed a full time gig at the agency that does Nike's marketing. So they do like Nike, Rite Aid, North Face. And so I worked my way up in that till I'm reporting direct to the CEO and working on like big pitches. So I'm doing marketing for the agency. I'm writing essentially was the main responsibility there. Then at the same time, bro, I'm like starting my coaching program. So I launched a coaching program in 2021 at the same time. So I have like this parallel path of working inside agencies and also working as a coach and then eventually working with coaches. So then I've come to this point where I'm basically writing copy for coaches and then building funnels for coaches and then also working in-house at agencies till I'm at where I'm
Right.
at now, where I'm writing for Teachable and then also have my agency. Yeah.
Gotcha. It's quite a neat journey, man. So one question: what did you take during college? Is it writing?
Bro, no. Like, no, not at all. Bro, I switched my major like 5 times. I was in poli sci, then I was in psychology, and then I was in philosophy for a little bit, and then I wanted to do like studies on religion before I settled on business and then finally marketing. And initially, I thought I was going to graduate in like 5, 6 years because I kept switching. I ended
Yeah.
up graduating in 3 years because I was like kind of cranked down after 2 years. I'm like, okay, screw it. And so then that on that third year, which was during COVID, everything
Mm,
locked down. I'm like, I told myself I didn't want to go back to school after
right.
COVID. So I just
Right.
went
Right.
ahead and like fit it, like cramped all the
Just,
courses
just
into
all
like
the 6 years. Like
yeah,
just
yeah. I
all.
was no bro because like I was literally behind, right? I didn't declare my major until like the end of the second year. And I don't know what happened. Okay, well, a few things did happen where it just kind of cranked in my brain that like I just need to get it together, and that's why I like, bro, I did so many things in 2020, like crammed together and finished my degree, and then started this whole like online business stuff, and then like all the stuff, bro. It was pretty cool.
Right. So you finished marketing, right?
I finished at with a marketing degree after switching for like every 2 months or something crazy, 3
Right.
months or something. Yeah,
Right. I'm curious, how does that has that helped you, like the degree
absolutely
at
not,
all?
not at all whatsoever. Zero impact whatsoever. And I
Yeah.
need to go dig to find my diploma at all. To be honest with you, like literally.
Right. The reason why I asked that is because, like, so before I did this, I was actually in college. It was just I had to find a way to make money. So it's not really, oh, this looks fun. It wasn't really like that. I was like, yo, I gotta make money, bro. And then I just saw this thing online, like it can make money on X. I saw a bunch of people screenshotting $5,000, $3,000. And so that's how I went. But now, recently, I've been considering going back to college because, well, it's actually not just because I want to, but for some reason, like, it's so hard because I'm from the Philippines, third world country, right? And for me to migrate to like get out of the country, I need like a professional certificate or a diploma, which I like, dude, I'm making money. I can
Yeah,
make money.
yeah.
I can do sales. I can do marketing, and you need me to have like a professional certificate. So now, like, I kind of have to go back and finish our college, which, as you've proven, like, you're not even marketing, right? You don't even use it.
No, you don't. Okay, so here's the thing about degrees. It's like they're necessary gateway to entry. Like if I didn't have the degree that I had, I wouldn't have been able to work at the agency that
Right.
has Nike's marketing. I wouldn't have had that in to be
Mm,
able to just pass that litmus test. In fact,
mm,
they told me that I was too young already, right? They like rejected me on so many clauses, but because I pitched them in a certain type of way, they allowed me to become a freelance writer. After my first article, they're like, "We want you full time." So that's what happened then. But if I didn't finish my degree by then, there was no way that they were going to even consider me because it's one of those things where it's like if you don't check that box, they
mm.
themselves have to go through so many internal processes to proof you out as an exception that it's not worth it for them. Like
Damn.
and that's governmentally too, right? They need to be able to proof it out that they can check that box. It doesn't matter. It's not because it's necessary from an informational standpoint. It's like
Right.
more of a sort of like logistical thing that they have to do. Right, because they would have to fill out so many legal forms. Oh, this person doesn't have a degree. Then someone else comes in. It's like, I heard that you don't need a degree to do XYZ. And it's like,
Right.
it just makes it tough on them. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I would, if I were you, I would just cram it all in as soon as possible and just finish it and like not even care about grades or whatever at all. Yeah. But
That's what I was thinking, dude. Because before I was like, I'm not one of those guys who are like, school failed me. You know, like I was actually really good at school.
totally.
Yeah, I was really good at school, but I just really needed the money. That's why I didn't go that route. Uh, but yeah, man, like I was super competitive. Like, dude, I would aim to be the top of the class. But now, like, I'm gonna go back and be like, I'm just gonna stay under the radar, like, do everything, pass everything. Doesn't matter if like I get the highest grades, just finish it, dude, and get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you can literally low diff school. Like if you, the delta between getting from like 0 to like 90 to 90% good in your classes versus 90 to 100% is like double the effort and it's not worth it, but you can still get decent grades and you can still put a decent amount of effort into it. But yeah, I wouldn't stress out over it, but I would finish it if I were you. You're already started it anyway, right? So it's not
Yeah,
like
I
you're
was
scrapped.
already like 3 semesters left, actually. So it's not a year and a
Easy,
half, you know? Yeah,
easy.
it's
Yeah,
just a year and a half. And I can't even like cram it more where I just finish it in a year because I just like basically take the last half of the year and just put it on, you know, like basically cram it like what you did, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's basically what I'm gonna do. Anyways, so you finished college and then you went straight to apply for an agency. Is
I
that
actually
correct?
got the job before finishing college. Like they were
Really?
waiting on me to finish college. I was like, I'm ready to start. And they're like, why don't you just get your diploma first and like then we'll start? Because they
Right.
were concerned that I was gonna be stressed out, but I was just like, whatever. You know, like, because it's not that big.
Yeah.
I've worked remotely my entire kind of like career, right? And so you can relate to this. So it's like, whatever, man. Just like put me in, put me on a Slack meeting. I don't care if I have to miss a couple of classes. I'll do the assignment. But they were like, no, no, let's have you finish first. So I did that and then hopped in house.
Gotcha. How did you meet them? Like LinkedIn, Upwork, or how did you apply?
I can't recall if it was LinkedIn or Indeed. I think it was just Indeed. It was just Indeed, like it's just an Indeed job posting, and then I just kind of applied like a regular human being. And then
You just
like
took your shot.
yeah, I took my shot and then I put together like a pitch. I can't remember if it was slides or a doc.
Mm.
Called me up one day and then yeah.
But like, how did you? I'm curious. Was that always your vision? Because like, in entrepreneurs, we have this thing like purpose. Make money, all that thing. Was that always kind of like your vision to do marketing, or how did you decide to take that career?
No, not at all. Not my vision at all. So like I'm a very philosophy, religious. So I
Right.
always liked writing, right? I always liked reading. I always liked writing. I think that was an important skill to identify as not to trip myself up and be like, hey, you should do these other things. I was like, I just like writing. I remember I had started these blogs, right? So started writing these blogs and those blogs ended up helping me because they ended up being my case studies, my work samples. Even though they didn't
Right.
make any money, even though they didn't get a ton of traffic at all, I think at peak, one of the blogs was getting like 1,000 page views a month, which is nothing. And that was after I left it to sit for like 2 years and didn't write at all, just like the SEO juice cranked up. Anyway, but it was really good when someone asked, like, hey, have you written any blogs before? Because, these companies were looking for blog articles. And so I started out, again, writing for that community owner who owns an agency and I started writing blog posts for him because he's like, hey, have you written blogs before? I'm like, look at my blog. And then I had started another blog because I gave up on the other blog. And so there was some blog posts floating around in the interwebs. Then so I stacked it from there. But there was never this grand vision of like, I'm going to start an agency or I'm going to do that. I was just like, literally, I want to make money online. I want to do it virtually because I don't want to have to slave away at a job. And although I did work in house and get like W 2'd in as an employee, I never worked like an 8 hour day, probably a single day that I was there for like a year and a
Yeah.
half.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, there was never any grand vision, bro. Like there's still kind of isn't.
Yeah. I feel you, dude. I feel you. It's the same thing with me. I kind of just stumbled across it, and like you, I'm also, dude. I was studying. Crap. I even forgot my course.
What was I studying? What was I doing?
Public administration. Like, so it's kind of
Okay.
like political. So I was actually, I was gonna take law, dude. I was on my
Oh,
way to take law because my mother is like a lawyer, a judge. So I
oh,
was like,
dude.
I just didn't know what to do. I kind of didn't know what to do in life. So I was like, I'm pretty good at this. I'm pretty good at speaking. I'm pretty good at writing. So I'm like, just do lawyer stuff. And then I used to do journaling like a lot. And I would be, dude, same thing with you. I used to write essays for fun, dude. Like I wrote a lot of essays for fun. There was even one essay that I wrote like 20 pages or something. So those things actually, I've used that as well as proof of concept. I haven't done it in a while. But yeah, it's really funny though. I think that a lot of people in the marketing space have this broad knowledge of topics. They just like writing in general. So that's why we're able to easily market stuff because we just consume the content of our client and then we put it out there. We present it. So what did you write about during those early days? Like what were your pieces?
Yeah, that's a great question. First, I want to say my dad's actually a lawyer. He owns a law firm.
Really?
So it's really
Yeah.
interesting that you say that, bro. I was like, from the time I was a kid, I was just slaving away at that law firm, right? So like writing things essentially. So
Yeah,
it
yeah,
just
yeah.
became second nature to me. But yeah, you asked about the topics that I was writing about. So I'm really into martial arts. So I was writing about things that I was learning in martial arts, like self defense techniques. I was writing about like different workouts that I was doing. And I eventually taught martial arts in my college, like as one of the coaches in like the martial arts club or whatever. And so everything that I would go through, I would write about and then post it on the blog, and no one would read it. So I was just like, whatever, this is just what I'm doing now, you know? And then eventually in 2020, I started to write about the things I was learning in marketing. So I would get like go through a free HubSpot certification, right? And then just like
Mm.
write the top 10, 15 things that I learned from that. Or, when I turned 20, I was like, okay, I'm old now. So let me just write about that, right? And it was just like, okay.
It's funny, dude.
I mean,
Yeah.
like life lessons and stuff like that. I got rejected from a job app once, and I wrote like a blog post about that. And so just like random, most whatever things, but I learned skills, right? So I learned how to upload things onto WordPress. I learned how to format correctly the H1s, H2s, and like the structure for SEO. nothing ever took off for me. I had the mindset of I'm gonna do this for affiliate marketing and passive income, but those things never happened. But what did was when I applied for things, I could use that to
Mm.
substantiate my claims of I can write things.
Right, right, right.
Yeah,
Gotcha, gotcha. So I'm curious though, like this one was just you stumbled across this really. Because for me, I learned how to write online by reading. So Nicholas Cole, are you familiar with Nicholas
yeah,
Cole?
definitely.
Yeah.
Ship 30.
So
Yeah,
Nicholas Cole, I read his book, The Art and Business of Online Writing. And that's what inspired me to write in Quora, actually. I started in Quora.
nice.
It was that also like, did you also stumble across someone or you just really, like, how did you had this, yo, I'm going to start writing online?
So back in 2018 when I had started, right, I was just down the hatch watching like Grant Cardone,
Okay.
Dan Lok, Gary V, like all these guys are just
Gurus, the
completely
gurus,
crazy,
the
right?
legend gurus.
I was like, dude, I need passive income. This is
Mm.
what needs to happen. And back then, now SEO is very disrupted. So this is not necessarily the case with AI coming out and everything like that. But blogs were the way to do it. Like if you were a writer, blog online to eventually make passive income was a trajectory. So I kept reading on that. And then eventually, when I was about to graduate college, I was like, okay, what can I do right now to just earn income now? Because I've been thinking
Mm.
about this blogging thing for a couple of years, going down YouTube rabbit holes like no one's business, buying courses where I could, right? I bought a couple of courses for like 100, $200, which again was all I had at the college years, right? Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
on vlogging specifically. And so I was like, how do I monetize this? I've already been doing it. Can I just make a couple of bucks on the side while I'm doing my classes? And the answer was, yes. So that's how I kind of stumbled into it over like a 2 year
Right.
period. Yeah.
Gotcha. 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 So now I understand because I think that's really where everyone starts. Like they stumble across a guru on the internet, passive like selling people selling the dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
10K
yeah,
per month in 30 days as a college student. Yeah, that's what I want to do. That sounds great. Like, let's
yeah, yeah.
do that.
Right. So now you started working with like that agency. How did it feel, man? Like, because I've never really worked for an agency. I've always been like a freelancer. Do my Funny enough, I also do my coaching a little bit. But I've been like a solo guy. I have like a VA. How did that feel working for an agency?
Bro, it was surreal, exciting, and anxiety inducing at the same time.
Why is that?
Because it's one thing if you're freelancing and you're working with clients that are small businesses or maybe medium-sized businesses, and by that I would define that as people who are doing like $1 million a year to up to like $10 million a year. You're working with them directly and or working with their CMO or whatever. It's a whole other world when you're working on a Nike RFP pitch or Virgin Galactic or Estee Lauder or Uniqlo, like writing pitches for these guys that are going to go through like 7 layers of middle management and eventually find the CEO somehow to win a contract that's going to be $1 million a month for the agency. So it's like a totally different level of like what is going on.
Right.
And for context, the agency had 400 people in it. So it was a 400-person agency at one point, not including like freelancers and contract workers. And so me coming in there as a 20-year-old kid, like not knowing anything, was super crazy, but also really exciting. So I got to learn from these SMEs, like working with the email marketing guy who is teaching me about like different segmentation tests and behavioral marketing that they were doing inside of these lists with like hundreds of thousands of people on them. So they had all these testing sizes. It was like case study after case study after case study within the agency. And I was like, whoa, this is insane. And I was basically in charge of taking the work that everyone was doing in the agency and conglomerating it into sales and marketing assets. So that was my job. And bro, crazy stuff happens. Like at that scale, margins are super slim. And so we churned a couple of big accounts in the agency. And essentially what happened was like they fired half the staff in
Mm.
like 2 days. So they
Right.
fired my entire team except for me. And so it was kind of funny, right? Because that was my fast track to reporting direct to the CEO for everything. Literally, my team had like 10, 15 people just on that part of the marketing team, the sales and marketing team, all gone.
Damn. Damn, dude.
Crazy.
Dude, that's crazy, man. I can just imagine because now, like, I try to imagine myself in your position. I probably like would be shocked. I'd probably be warped all over the place, not like freaking confused. How did you handle like being? Were you the youngest person in there or no?
Most likely.
Right.
I
And
didn't
how
know
did
anyone
you
younger. Yeah.
how did you handle that? Like in the beginning, were you a bit, or were you already used to working with people? Because like if you're young, like there's a bit of, like you're a rookie. How did you handle that being young?
Be excited, be curious, and willing to learn. Because as long as you're excited to learn from someone, I think I came in more with like an awe-inspiring wonder of, oh my gosh, I get to work with you. You've been in this field for 10, 20 years, and not
Mm,
the thing of like, I need to prove myself. I never really
right.
felt the need to prove myself. I just felt actually just really grateful that I got the position because they again they turned me down initially, and then I bugged them a
Mm,
little more and they gave me a freelance writing position for like, let's try you out for an article, and then I bugged them a little more and they ended up hiring me full time. So I just felt super grateful for the experience already, and then any chance I would get, I would Slack or DM whoever I could, department heads or just even junior representatives or specialists, and I'd be like, how do you do what you do? And my job essentially, right, was to interview each person. So I was writing ebooks, blog posts, and it would be ghost written but internally
Yeah, you're
inside the
basically
agency.
a ghostwriter.
So it would be a ghostwriter but inside the agency, right, which is cool. And the article or whatever would have their name on it, but I would be the one interviewing them and writing their stuff, right? So
Right.
it was really surreal for me because I was just looking for a place to really learn this because I didn't learn anything about marketing in school. So I was like, let me just take this as a chance to learn. It
Yeah.
was scary, but I was more excited than I was trying to prove myself. And I think that that part showed, and people like actually actively mentored me inside of the company. So I got it
Yeah.
all and
Yeah.
got paid to do it pretty much.
Yeah, dude. Like now that you're mentioning it, it's probably one of the things that I also like to do when I'm working with clients. Because a lot of people, like, I don't know if you how much you've been on X. This is going to be posted on X, so we're going to talk about X. A lot of
Yeah.
people on X try to be like an authority figure. Like they're trying to be, they're trying
Yeah.
to be the top dog.
Yeah.
Like when they just went there for like 3 months, and then now they're trying to be like the top person. And I'm like, yo, bro, like you're disregarding one of the biggest assets you have, which is you're young and you're a beginner. Like for me, the reason I got to close like top CEOs was because I literally just went up them to them, be interested in them, like doing these podcasts as well, networking with people. Like this is one of my biggest assets, and I pretend that, or not pretend, but I am actually not knowledgeable about anything. So people
Same.
give me opportunities.
Yeah. I think people, especially beginners, completely underestimate the fact that people who have been in the game for decades love when someone just is genuinely interested. They don't want to hear about your accolades and credentials. And honestly, this applies to when you get up there too, right? Like, yes, you want a certain degree of credibility, testimonials, case studies to show that you can back up the claims that you have. But at the end of the day, no one wants to work with someone who positions himself as an authority figure. If you legitimately are an authority figure, like if you're Hermosi, like be who you are and just plant your stake in the ground. But if you know that you haven't exited a company for deca millions of dollars and you know that you've reached a certain level of, I guess, success, then you can talk about that. But even at that level, people like don't try to become an authority figure when you're not, but do talk about the things you're interested in and the things you're learning and give your unique perspective.
So now you mentioned you did a little bit of coaching. How did that come to be when you were in the agency and then you started coaching?
So watch this. So as I'm making money, like a good portion of the money I'm making is being poured back into coaching programs. So right before I actually joined full time at the agency, I dropped like 6 grand on a coaching program on how to coach coaches. And bro, I don't know how into faith you want to go to. I'm very big on my faith. I'm very like into Jesus, basically.
Yeah,
But I
I
was
have
just
a tattoo of cross in my back, so
let's
quite.
go. All right,
Yeah.
so we're good. Sometimes I offend people, but so
Dude, this is space, man.
I was watching a YouTube video, right? And so how I really got deep into like this online marketing stuff is I was talking to God, and I would basically talk to God every single day and journal to God because we're writing anyway, right? And one day I'm watching this YouTube video of this YouTuber. I won't name him, drop him, but essentially I felt in my heart, like I felt God say to me, like, you're gonna meet him soon, and I have a message for you to deliver to him. Join his coaching program, and you'll meet him soon. I had no idea what this is going on, so whatever. I dropped 6 grand on his coaching program. It was the easiest close ever that closer ever probably took in his life. Okay, probably the easiest close because I got on the call and I'm like, I'm joining. He's like, I didn't even qualify you yet. I'm like, I think the call took a grand total of, bro, like I kid you not, like 20 minutes. And most of that was just him explaining to me the program and me being like, yes, 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 yes. But I didn't even know, bro. Like I kid you not, I joined the program. I'm like, I never wanted to start a coaching program. Why am I here? But I just like by faith had God had me where He had me. And lo and behold, in December of 2021, 9 months later, so I started really full time at the agency after I graduated. So in July 2021, and I dropped that money on the coaching program, I believe in April or May, and I flew down to Austin, Texas. I live in New York. Flew down to Austin, Texas, and met the guy who runs the coaching program in December. I delivered the message that
By
God had in
accident?
my heart in May. So basically, it was basically completely by accident, right? Because I had no idea up until this point. He never did any in person stuff. Then he hosted his first event in December for anyone who was in the coaching program. So I'm like, okay, God, like, guess this is it. And then some crazy stuff happened. Holy Spirit broke out in the middle of like a Bible study that we were having in the actual event. Just like a bunch of guys for the coaching program, and now I'm like good friends with them. It was really cool. Anyway, so that's the roundabout way about how I got into the coaching space because I didn't really intend to be here at all. But I ended up making my investment back. I think I doubled like my investment through just like the coaching that I did one on one with people and launched like a group coaching program for a brief stint. But yeah, I never really intended to be in this, but it helped me though because I went from working in house at the agency to being able to work directly with info product business owners, which is cool.
Right. And so what were you coaching? Like what was your offer for the coaching program?
Basically, my offer was helping people land full time writing jobs online,
Mm.
even if they had no experience, which is just basically the thing that I did. But
Yeah,
it's kind of funny because when I started it, I hadn't even started my full time job yet, so it's really interesting. I was like,
that's funny. Right. And like I'm curious, so that was what made you decide to do the like to start your coaching program again? Is it that coach?
yeah, basically joining that program. So I was like, I know that I'm going to talk to this guy because I felt it on my heart to do so, which is the only, like, literally the sole reason that I dropped 6 grand, whatever. It was like a crazy faith move, really. And then I was like, I'm here anyway. I guess
Yeah.
let me build something. Like,
Right, right, right. Gotcha, gotcha. And how did that go, man? How did the coaching program go?
it went well for a season, right? Like, I think that year I had made like, can't remember if it was like 10 or 15K from like in total. But I wasn't focusing on it, right? Because I
Mm.
had just also started the full-time in-house agency thing. I have like sort of a plague of doing too many things at one time, which I think a lot of people can relate to. Um, and I ended up shutting it down basically in March of 2022 because I just got too busy and I was like, I want to hone in my skills first. I want to get
Marketing.
really good at this entire thing before I launch a whole coaching program. So that it did well. I broke even. Actually, I like doubled my investment, I think, which is
Yeah,
fine. And then I was
yeah,
like, all
yeah.
right, this is cool. Like, yeah. So then I ended up partnering with again coaches, consultants, and like the info product space. So it did end up wedging me in there.
Right. Okay, okay, okay. I remember now. Yeah, that's dope, man. So it's kind of like your two interests, or somewhat like the two career paths merged, right?
Converged. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So what? Like now, are you still working on the agency or no longer? Like the
No, I
agency
left
applied.
that agency in I want to say end of 2022 if I'm remembering properly. And then I for about a year, all
Mm,
of 2023 essentially, I was working with two other agencies as a contractor
mm,
and writing copy for them. And they were both working with info product businesses and coaching businesses. And that's actually where I had that 100K per month in 3 months case study. So I was working
right.
with a ads agency. And so they were
Okay.
like, bro, we need this funnel built. We need this thing written. We have like a couple of designers and things like that. Like, what do we do? And I was like, all right, so let's do this, 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 and this. And lo and behold, it became something really, really solid case study. Like
Mm.
$4 cost per lead, $50 cost per book call, $250 cost per acquisition on like a $2,000 product, like info product, right? So, I mean, you can calculate the margins on that after like the sales guys get paid 10 to 15% commission or whatever it is, was really solid for that creator. And we just cranked ads to that essentially. Yeah,
Gotcha, gotcha. And now, like, it led you into building your own agency that
totally.
does the, yeah, yeah, yeah. So how's that journey gone out for you?
So I've worked in house at that larger agency, but I've also worked as a writer, primarily contract at, I think, 10 to 12 other agencies. So I got to see like the inside of the agency model, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Like it
Definitely.
is crazy, and I definitely experienced that for myself, but it's kind of like the bad that you experience and therefore have become accustomed to. So I'm like, okay, I don't necessarily believe that I can do better than these other people who are running these other agencies, but I think I can do it differently. And so that's what I'm sort of building right now. Yeah, with mine.
So what is that different? I'm curious. Like, what's your different?
Yeah, that's a good question. So agencies typically function in a way where they rely a lot on manpower and talent, right? And so that's good. That's a good thing. You want your talent pool to be strong. You want to be able to hire A players. You want to be able to do all these things. But fundamentally, it flows from the top down. And so what I noticed when I worked at that larger agency is the reason that half the staff got fired in one day and it was just a crazy time and the rest of the half of the staff had to pick up all the accounts is because the founder, the CEO himself, wasn't kind of getting to the point with his own character to be able to call out the mistakes that he was making before it was too late. And so what
Mhm.
I'm trying to do is scale slow. Right? That's one thing that I'm doing differently. Is just like one client at a time. How am I optimizing my system so that when someone comes in here, they have the best experience possible? Because agencies are truly, in my opinion, the best way to learn marketing is working in an agency, like a good agency is the best way for a beginner to learn marketing. And so now I'm trying to create the conditions such that anyone who comes into my agency and works under me, because right now it's just me and I have some contractors that I just like collab with, but I want to get to the point where when I hire my first person, they're set up for success to the degree that they will be able to have a launch pad for that. So that's the first thing is like
Mhm.
hiring. The second thing is like acquisition, lead generation, and building up a sustainable system that is value first inbound or outbound. Like, I'm not a fan of spamming outbound messages, spamming cold emails, or even if you do it the right way, right? Like, even if you set up your domains and everything, like, I'm just not a big fan of it. It actually icks me out. And only closing clients that I actually think I can get results for. So, like, all these
Right.
things are like small little agency things that I realize agencies kind of cut corners on a lot just to hit
Mm.
rev numbers. Not my priority, not my prerogative. So those are just a couple of things, less technical, but more kind of character thing.
Love it though. I love the idea because, like, again, what you mentioned, if you're looking for an agency who does those things, like, you can do those. But with you, you're more focused on what I see is more quality work, both in, so it's like both client experience and employee experience somewhat. You want like their experience to be, you want your agency to be a good place to work in and work with.
Exactly.
Gotcha, gotcha. So right now, is there anything that you're launching, like anything that you're offering right now in that phase?
Yeah, so I just launched my 5-day funnel sort of structure. And
Mm.
that's the other thing I'm trying to do is get very specific about the outcome that people get and the asset that people get. A lot of agencies do like ads management or email marketing, all great things, but I'm very much like a deliverables kind of guy. Like, if you pay
Right.
your money, here's what you get and here's the time frame you get it in. And this is the guarantee if it doesn't get done. And so I launched 5dayfunnels.com, like spelled out the word 5dayfunnels.com, and basically built out a funnel where I'm helping like info product businesses build their funnels in 5 days or less.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm launching that.
So you're building funnels 5 days or less. How do you do that?
Bro, structure, systems, processes, a little bit of AI, and some sauce. Like, literally, it doesn't take that much. What I found, bro, like literally, I found that so agencies spend months and months on funnels, back and forth on strategy calls, trying to really get the target audience. And the fact is, like, sometimes that performs worse than just a landing page with an opt-in and a VSL book a call.
Actually, yes, that's true.
And so the biggest thing is, like, with a funnel is just like launch it. You don't know what will perform. And if anyone tells you this is the proven method, like, no, because how you deliver things in the funnel will be different. And so speed is king in this game. But
Mm.
I think that 5 days and 5 business days at that, right? So not just five, like if you put it in on a Saturday, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? But 5 business days is enough to where you can put out a minimum viable product and iterate from there. So I'm not sitting here and saying like that's your winning thing, that's going to get to
All
100K per
right.
month, like that exact funnel, but you have the structure because that's where everyone struggles is like getting the thing into GHL or ClickFunnels or Webflow or WordPress and like getting it started, launching it, getting the pixel in, like doing the copy, getting the design. It's just overwhelming for business owners. They don't realize how much work it takes, but then agencies drag it out to
Right.
drag the retainer, essentially.
No, 100% right. Now that I'm thinking about it, dude, I do like 5-day email courses. Like if I'm gonna do it for myself, right? Just for myself with my knowledge, yeah, 5 days is all it takes to finish that whole thing.
Totally. That's assuming that you don't have, proven structures, templates, or things to work off of. Like, if you do have things to work off of and you combine, assemble them, and then customize them from there, really building a funnel really only takes like 3 to maybe 10 hours if you know what you're doing.
Yeah,
Like, it doesn't
yeah, yeah,
take that long. So, shouldn't be that hard.
yeah. And I mean, it's also testing, right? Like sometimes those funnels, you'll just see if it works or not, or what specific parts of the funnels as well. I'm curious, like, how do you track those things? Like, what are the things you track in funnels that are the crucial parts?
So it depends if you're running cold traffic to it or not. Like who is coming to the funnel is very important. And I like to separate things out based off of traffic temperature if possible at all. Because what happens is people run ads to funnels, but then people organically come to your funnel. And you want to try your best to make those two different pages. Because if you track
Mm,
conversion rate, that's my primary metric that I look at as a funnel builder is conversion rate, opt-in rate, book a call rate, right? Checkout rate based off of when they get to the page. It will skew heavily if you run cold traffic versus if people are warm. You will get crazy good opt-in rates from warm if you present it to your organic audience compared
mm,
to if you just run ads to it. So that's the first thing that I do. I track conversion rate, split tested off of warm and cold
one,
traffic temperature, and then you track the conversion rate on the different pages, right? So if you're opting in, what is your opt-in rate? If you're, have a VSL to book a call after, what is your book call rate? What is your show rate? And then what is your closing rate? And what's your average order value on the close? And so then working backwards, you can figure out this is how much I invested into my funnel. This is how much I invested in ads. This is how much I make. And this is the margin on what I make. And then you can crank it from there if it makes sense.
right. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. I'm mind blown. Like right now, I'm thinking about that because, again, I'm a beginner. Like I only started a couple of
Me too, bro. I'm just trying to figure it out.
understand what you're trying to say, but now that I'm saying, oh my, that makes a lot of sense. Like there's still you need to consider ads, like separating that because I'm only primarily doing warm, right? I'm only growing social media. Have you also done that, like grow someone's social media, or like what's your primary thing?
So I have had a couple of clients that I kind of like write their social scripts for them because again, I started in writing.
Mm,
Basically, I've written a lot of things that you can write on the internet. So I write
mm,
Teachable's newsletter, which goes out to like about 1 million contacts a week. And so basically, whatever it has to do with writing, I've written, right? Like social posts, ads, things of that
mm,
nature. I did so for the CEO, the founder of that agency, I did his LinkedIn. And so LinkedIn growth and like writing his posts and things like that. It's not my expertise, but I've
yeah,
done it
yeah.
before. And so I think that for warm traffic and organic, that is actually the most powerful engine. If you can get people in there onto your funnel, like the conversion rates will be much higher than ads, but you can't
Mm,
crank it one for one, put a dollar in, get X amount of dollars
right.
out. It's a little
Because
more unpredictable.
yeah, it's unpredictable, like the algorithm, right? You can't really control the algorithm.
Exactly. And so the best thing to do, in my opinion, is spend time, build out the audience, then run ads when you have a substantial audience because people will look you up. It's part of the reason, bro. I don't take like I take very, very little credit for that 100K per month in 90 days funnel because basically Shay, who we were running the funnel for, had a significant following on YouTube, like a couple 100,000 followers back in 22 when I built that funnel. Um, and that really made all the difference in my opinion. Now we didn't really have attribution to be able to see like did someone click the ad and then go onto like her website. Like we didn't have the cookies set up at that point to be able to track those things, but I just have a sneaking suspicion that that's the reason that the cost per lead was so low.
Right, because they would, instead of booking from the ad itself, they would actually go to YouTube. So
Most
they, yeah,
likely. Most
right.
likely.
So really, one of the, like, you notice that warm people who have a bigger audience tend to do well.
If you have a bigger audience and you decide to crank ads and spend money on paid media, of course you
Mm.
need a decent funnel. But once you get to that point, if you really want to know how to lower ad costs, it's strong organic presence.
Damn. Okay, I'm doing the right thing then. Building
Yeah,
brands, you know.
a funnel is like something necessary that you want to have, but it's not going to solve all your problems. A lot of people think, especially founders that are really busy, think that they
Mm.
can cheat their way in by just paying money for ads to drive things. And to a certain extent, you can. But at a point, the ad cost becomes so ridiculous compared to the profit that you're making that you either have to skyrocket your prices and have a really good sales team, or you need to get on organic because that's the only way to like lower CPL. Like everyone wants to do it. They try to figure out an ad tweak, but it's either the
Right.
offer, it's your creative, or if you just raise your organic presence, you can have like not even the best offer, and some people will still take it because you have that trust built up.
Yeah, it reminds me of Iman Godzi, you know.
100%. And I took his course too. Yeah. So
Right? Yeah.
yeah,
Iman Godzi is like what, 2 million or something on YouTube and so many
five
in
now.
Instagram. Five now?
Five
Oh
million.
Jesus
Five
Christ!
million. Yeah.
Damn. I actually like these people. I haven't met them. I only met them 10 months ago. Like I was outside social media, so now like seeing these people, it astounds me what the power of social media really.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So for now, you're doing this agency thing. What do you think you'll be doing? Like, this is something that you'll be doing for a long time, or do you have like, what's your plans?
I've always kind of been someone like where I'm at is where I'm at and just kind of walk with that. And I think that when I get into long term planning, it's kind of a trap because things never go the way that I plan them anyway. Right.
Oh
Like
yeah.
if I plan to start a blog and make passive income on it, and you could say I failed that, but then I ended up making money just writing blogs for other people. I thought this is great. I'm just gonna like do that and then start a coaching program. That didn't go how I planned, but the coaching program plus my writing experience led me to start being able to work with these coaches. It's like, oh, this is great. Okay, so now I'm doing all this writing, and so then now I'm building funnels. The writing led me to build funnels. So now I'm building funnels. Now I'm building funnels for people. But bro, that could lead anywhere. I think that the one thing that I do know, or the thing that I've learned, is the type of person that I want to work with. That's the most
Mm.
sort of exciting part of it because
Mm.
whether AI disrupts a service or whether or not you grow on organic social, if you know the type of person you want to work with, probably more importantly, the type of person you don't want to work with, things become a lot clearer in terms of what you need to do right now. So that's what I figured out is like, man, I like working with creators. I like working with coaches. I like working with people that have a mentality of online business and understand what that is. Like, I realize I don't want to do ecom. I'm not really interested in local businesses and brick and mortar. Like, these are the types of people that I want to work with. So yeah, I'm like, what can I do that delivers the most value based off of what I've known in my experiences, like funnels and copy. And so I'm like, what's most deliverable for someone that I can build from the ground up in a certain time frame? Funnels. After I do the funnels, we can talk about copy and what else they need. But so that's what I'm how I'm running it basically. Yeah.
Right. Gotcha. Gotcha. Very interesting way of looking at life. I mean, I'm kind of like you where I stumbled across things, but I've always been this guy who tries to plan for things. Although I must admit that most of the things I plan for never happen. Most of the
Yeah.
things I plan for, they don't come out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's no, bro. Like I said, I'm very big into the Bible and like I'm very big into my faith. And so in
Mm.
Ecclesiastes 11, Solomon, richest wisest man to ever live, basically says this. He says something along the lines of this. I might misquote it, so don't judge me. But he says, you do not know what will prosper, whether this or that, or whether both alike will be good. So the thing that he's basically saying is just like, do whatever you put your hands to and just do it well, because you don't know what's going to work out. And usually what you think is going to work out doesn't work out, but what you never thought would work out happens. And it's like, cool. But if you get too attached to the vision, the purpose, like you start to dissuade from those other things. You know what a vision and purpose and a mission and values are good for? Aligning a culture fit for a team. So if you have a
Mm,
team, do that. But just know that it's not going to necessarily pan out that way, and that's okay, because you just do what you put your hands to. It's like, okay, shift when you have to shift, pivot when you have to pivot. I wouldn't Anytime that I've got too concrete on plans has actually slowed down my growth.
mm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. By the way, Ecclesiastes, my favorite book in the Bible. I was a
Nice.
nihilist before. I was a nihilist because, dude, I grew up in a screwed up family. But yeah,
Same here.
Ecclesiastes. Dude, I think there's something about that when you're, you know, in a tough family, you kind of figure out how to navigate the world on your own.
100.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
it is what it is. Curious, like, what are the type of people you mentioned you didn't want to work with? Well, now you mentioned type of people you want to work with.
Yeah,
What are the
100%.
type of people you don't want to work with?
So it's mainly on character traits and a little bit less about like they are at this amount of revenue and they have these problems. So I think a lot of people think about target customer audience or avatar or ICP. And these things are good to have. But I think that the measurement of ICP comes from a lot of demographics or psychographics, even. But I think what I've learned is there's specific characters or types of people, archetypes, if you will, that you run into, or people that have certain traits. And so there's certain traits that I avoid like the plague. So basically, anyone who is trying to scale fast and scale hard, like those are the
Right.
types of people that you want to be careful about because they're willing to cut corners or do whatever it takes. So I don't like necessarily that mentality. What I'm more
Mm.
so looking for are people who are genuinely passionate and have put time and effort into their craft and can create the results that they claim to create. So number of case studies is a good parameter that I go by, right? Like not just organic following, but do they have a basis by which they're doing the things that they do? Are they showing up and are they present in their content to where I'm like, whoa, this person is inspiring to me. Like I want to work with this person. Those are the only types of human beings that I really want to go out on a limb and do outreach for. Because when I used to do like organic outreach, 50 messages a day to just random people, I landed some. I'm like, I don't want to work with you anymore.
Yeah.
You can pay me, but like, bro, I don't want to be here. Like, I think that's what
Right.
I've learned over like 5 years is, if you genuinely don't want to work with the person, it's never going to work out. Like you won't even get them results, even if your stuff is good, because you won't be there. Like you won't be in it.
100%. Especially in a service based. I had this client once. He's a CEO of an eight-figure agency. He told me that like you work because before, I'm a freelancer. Like I was a beginner. I would work. Like you work with anyone who you
Yeah,
could
yeah,
work with. But once I started working with him, it told me about that. It's like life is too short to work with clients that you don't like, especially in a service-based business where you literally have to talk to them like every week. Like you have to contact them, guide them through the process, just to work with people who you want to work with. And in every sales call, just have a genuine conversation and see if you're a good fit. Because if you're not,
exactly.
even if you can help them, even have the problem, it's probably not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, because you have to. All service-based businesses partner with their clients. It's
Mm.
less about like you can't just sell something off the shelf and toss them like a water bottle or something. Like it doesn't work like that. So like you like it or not, you're selling your time or your team's time to some capacity and the assets that you guys have, of course. But it's like if you don't enjoy working with the person, it's really not worth any type of paycheck or any type of invoice or whatever it is. Like, bro, the Stripe fees are not worth it, bro. You know what I mean? Like, oh, like, bro, getting the ping on your phone, like, oh, closed, win, is not worth the
Yeah.
stress, the headache, and you know, I've worked with clients before where I felt my own character deteriorate just being
Yeah.
around them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm spiraling into degeneracy because I decided to close this person. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
not always the best deal to make.
So there was one time, like, there's one time I remember I had a client. I literally had Like I was meditating with my girlfriend, and my nose was bleeding because I was just sleep deprived. I was stressed out, and if my girlfriend didn't see me, like with my nose bleeding, I wouldn't even notice because I was just trying to like calm down.
Yeah, it will physically take a toll on your health, bro. Like it's
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
100%, man. Now then, like, is there any like if someone is beginning to do like starting out in digital marketing, they want to like work with coaches, build funnels, do the things that you did. So what would be your number one advice to them? What message for them?
Whatever you do, whatever your hand finds to do, whatever it is, work at it heartily. I think a lot of people are looking for the best opportunity. There is no best opportunity. So I think you and I connect on this, which is like we like to write. Okay, that's a piece of information. Run with it. Start writing. And the value of just taking that action and working at it heartily, knowing that whatever it is, it will produce good fruit. You don't know when the fruit's going to happen. So just plant the seeds. Like you don't know what and when is going to happen. If you try to predict it, that is energy that you could be using to do the thing. I'm going to quote Ecclesiastes 11 again because it's just so good. And it's he who regards the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap. And what that basically means is if you look in the sky and you're like, this thing is going to happen, I'm going to have this vision for this and this and this and this, have the thing, keep the values, and walk. The most important thing is just
Mm.
walk, plant the seeds, because you may want to go into the coaching or info product industry right now, but who knows where you'll end up in like 18 months. I had no idea, but you'll be in a better
Yeah,
place as long as you just do the thing.
dude, Ecclesiastes. Well, I don't know if you know was this Bible Project? Are you familiar with
Yeah,
that
of course.
YouTube channel?
Tim
Dude, I
Mackey,
love their video about that because like the it's this hevel, and
Hevel, yeah,
you walk with open hands because you
yeah.
can't really grab the hevel.
No, there's no way. And if you try to do it, it's again, it's meaningless, meaningless. Everything is meaningless, or vanity,
Yeah,
vanity. Everything is vanity, and grasping for the wind. And so you don't, as long as you can understand that conceptually, even just a little bit, it's more valuable to you to just walk at whatever you have. Like walk it out. Like, bro, if you're still in school, walk that out. You know what I mean? Like it'll
yeah,
happen. Just trust like that whatever you do, that it's going to turn out, and just walking that. Because the moment that you start to give in to either grandiose plans or anxiety about what's happening in the current situation, you don't continue moving, which is a problem. Yeah.
dude, I'm getting goosebumps right now. It's beautiful. But yeah, anything you want to announce, man? I know you're launching that 5-day funnel. Anything else?
That's pretty much it. Yeah, 5dayfunnels.com. I'm trying to full send that and we'll see where it goes. But again, I'm just walking in that, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
taking each client one step at a time, right? So yeah, there's that. Trying to get more devoted at growing my organic presence this year. So we can chat about that. But yeah, we'll
Yeah,
figure that out.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
100%, man. All right. It was fun having you. Where can people find you, dude? If they
Yeah.
want to contact you.
Yeah, you can find me on IG at underscore the Chris Chan. I'm also on YouTube at the dash Chris.Chan, I think. I have to find out my handle. I gotta
We'll
figure out my
link it down in the comments, in
yeah,
the
we'll link it.
description.
Because yeah, I'm still growing those things basically from scratch. So yeah, hit me up though if you want to chat.
Awesome, man. All right. It was fun having you, dude. It was a great conversation. Really felt connected. Let's fucking
Yeah,
go, dude.
it's
All
fire.
right. Cheers, dude.
All right, bro.